Ever feel like the universe picks random content to go viral while your post barely gets a pity like? Let's crack open the myth of virality and spill the real ingredients that make content truly share-worthy. We're taking a hacksaw to the almighty concept of going viral. We're about to rip the pretty bow off virality and expose the real mechanics of how to capture attention, win hearts, and spark real buzz. So picture this. You're doom scrolling on social, you're half zoned out when bam, Bradley Cooper rolling down his window and says, "Hey." And then it smash cuts to a dog upside down with his balls hanging out. You weren't ready for it. Now you're ugly laughing. And before you know it, you're sending it to everyone you know. We live for these weird, unexpected moments on the internet. So as a brand or marketer, how do you harness that share factor without depending on the cosmic stars to align? Viral hits might appear spontaneous, but smart marketers know there's a method behind the madness, a calculated approach to stirring up genuine engagement with your audience. And by the end of this episode, you're going to know how to do it too. Let's call it like it is. Going viral has become the ultimate daydream for anyone posting online, myself included. I would be over the moon if everything I posted online for myself or for my clients went viral. But if I'm banking my entire strategy on a viral lottery ticket, I will end up with a heartbreaking story instead. So let's talk misconceptions. Misconception one is that you can buy your way into virality. Sure, you can pump money into ads and promotions, but genuine widespread shares comes from striking an emotional chord. And that's not exactly something money can buy. Misconception two is that virality is all about luck. While you can't guarantee timing, you can engineer delivery with a consistent brand voice, storytelling, and a knack for tapping into audience psyche. And we'll get into that in just a moment. Misconception three is that once you go viral, the work is over. And all I can say is think again. A quick surge in attention is thrilling, but if your content is a one-hit wonder, those new fans will bail just as fast. Lasting loyalty requires stamina. In other words, consistency. Speaking from experience, I had a YouTube short blow up, pulling over 1,000 subscribers when I basically had nothing. I was a new channel. I think I had maybe 30 subscribers at the time. But here's the twist. Those new subscribers subscribed because I did have content on my channel on similar topics, which was advantageous at the time. And that's a whole discussion for another day. But here's where I dropped the ball. I got the subscribers, yes, but the watched hours was crickets because I didn't keep posting. There was no fresh content, no engagement, and just like that, the hype faded. So going viral, yes, it gets you in the door quicker, but staying in the game, that's a whole different grind. So what's the secret to content that actually provokes someone to share? Let's tap into the psychology of why people share content. When you understand this, you can tailor your content to one of these reasons. And real quick, I just want to say that I've jumped on trends and recreated the same content that's performed well for competitors, whether it's mine or for clients. I've done this without necessarily knowing why it worked. And as a result, I'm just part of this content samification problem we have. Sure, I know that content struck a chord or had a flashy hook, but when I took the time to dig deeper into human psychology, did things really start to click for me? So reason one, people share is identity and self-expression. People often share content that reflects who they are or who they aspire to be. So if a piece of content aligns with your values, interests, issues, or aspirations, you're more inclined to share it because it reinforces or showcases your identity to your friends and followers. Reason number two is emotional resonance. Content that evokes a strong emotion, whether it's laughter, sadness, rage, empathy, any emotion has a higher likelihood of being shared. And that's because humans are emotional beings driven to share our experiences that make us feel something. Reason three is social currency. People like to share content that makes them look good, knowledgeable, or in the know. In other words, when someone shares something interesting, it increases their social standing within their network. Reason 4 is practical value, right? Content that provides practical tips or useful insights like how-tos, hacks, guides, checklists. It's highly shareable because people feel good about helping others and being viewed as a source of information. Reason 5 is connection. At its core, sharing content is about connections. People share to stay in touch with friends and family and to reach out to those they might not otherwise connect with. Sharing also brings enjoyment and entertainment. It's helping individuals feel more connected to the wider world. Now let's talk about how you can leverage these reasons. I never want to be someone who is just spitting out the why and never showing examples of how this can be applied. The first step is a simple mind shift. Instead of aiming for how do we go viral, think how do we create content people want to share? So for the identity and self-expression reasons, align your content with the audience values and aspirations. Ask yourself, does this post help my audience express their interests, values, issues, or aspirations? For me, music is a great example because I'm passionate about the bands I like, and I'm always sharing content from the band or genre because it's a reflection of my interests. For emotional resonance reasons, use storytelling, relatable human experiences, or humor to spark an emotional response. I think a great example of this is Ryanair. They're a budget airline. They're not trying to be something they're not. They like to call out the relatable experiences their passengers face, like lack of legroom, no reclining seats, baggage fees, and they turn that into comedic content. Now, I'm a dog mom. I love the dog daycare videos that share the crimes committed by their dogs for that day. It's relatable to people who have dogs, but it also highlights the culture of that dog daycare. So if I'm in the area, I will certainly seek out their services. A wedding venue might share a bride's epic happy cry reaction when they're seeing the venue for the first time. For social currency reasons, share things that make the viewer look cool or in the know. Give them the exclusive insights or behind the scene peek. A bartender might share a secret off-menu cocktail recipe not shared anywhere else. It's the if you know content. So a hotel might share a hush-hush VIP lounge. Only guests who have the word can get access to, therefore creating FOMO. You can also give practical reasons by producing tutorials, hacks, or quick tips for your niche. So a financial planner might share how to build wealth on autopilot with tricks they've learned from 15 years in the industry. A nightclub might post 5 things you didn't know about getting VIP access. You can cultivate a sense of community and connection by creating reasons for your audience to interact, not just with you, but also with each other. One thing that comes to mind is something only a blank would understand, like something only a photographer would understand. I did this with a client and the engagement was incredible. It brought tons of new followers, meaningful comments amongst the community, and it generated even more shares. In addition to giving people a reason to share, it's essential to incorporate certain elements that boost shareability. Start strong with a hook because those first few seconds are critical for capturing attention. By piquing curiosity right away, you have the viewer engaged to see what comes next, and they're more likely to share. For example, this episode, I opened with a question that anyone posting on social media has felt at least once. I asked, ever feel like the universe picks random content to go viral while your brilliant post barely gets a pity like? This can also be sharing the climax right away or introducing the character and the stakes. like by the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly how to gain more shares of your content. It's also good to throw in the unexpected twists and surprises, a surprising plot turn, a cleverly timed joke, or an eye-opening reveal. When people don't see it coming, they're excited, right? Bradley Cooper, and they pass that moment on to others. Next, you want to make your content memorable and catchy. This can be as simple as a distinctive outfit, some dynamic movement, or a striking visual metaphor. And while it can be daunting, daring to defy norms can yield big rewards. Safe content often fades into the background, whereas brands like Liquid Death or Duolingo, they thrive because they're unafraid to push boundaries and stand out. We're all guilty of the samification, right? Myself included. And that's okay, but we're going to think differently now, right? And finally, let's mix the fun with purpose. Bold, playful content that carries a meaningful message, it hits the sweet spot. It draws people in with intrigue or humor and keeps them invested with substance. A one-time viral hit can be exciting, but it's the systematic creation of share-worthy, audience-focused content that leads to sustained growth and community engagement. When you cater to the core reasons people share, identity, emotion, social status, practical value, and connection, you set the foundation for consistent sharing. And that consistency is what ultimately fuels both long-term success and the possibility of those future viral moments.